Hello everyone, I'm late, I know, it's Monday rather. I'm a day late and $1 short a bit with my WandaVision review. Sorry, things came up, I had appointments I couldn't get out of, but I'm here now. And I'm also gonna do a slight change of plans. So, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm just gonna do this one review. It's gonna be all 15 minutes and we're just gonna discuss it. There will be spoilers. I'm not gonna break it down as much as I thought I would, because I just don't have the time. I'm sorry, I just have to be honest, I don't. But anyway, intros. I'm Grant, the movie and TV guy. Hello, everyone. Let's talk about WandaVision. WandaVision is the latest, I guess we'll call it long-form Marvel movie. It's the first thing in the Marvel Studios-backed MCU since Spider-Man Far From Home. However, I mean, unless you count the final season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the first season of Hellstrom, which I do. So, and the final season of Runaways. So, it's canon, it's in the MCU. But no, this is, like, the big names in it. WandaVision stars Elizabeth Olsen, the great Elizabeth Olsen, and the great Paul Bettany as Wanda Maximoff and the Vision, of course, who, started getting hints of their little romance that's very famous in the comics and the movies, but of course, spoiler alert, of course. And I should say that right off the bat, spoiler alert. The Mind Stone that keeps Thanos running in his synthetic vibranium body was ripped out of his skull by that horrible purple, so-and-so Thanos, who everyone couldn't wait to get dusted. Ripped it out of his head. First forced Wanda to do it, and then did it himself with the Time Stone. Pretty horrifying. And unlike Wanda, who got dusted, Wanda came back, Vision did not, because he died before the blip. So now, Wanda, in her grief, has created, not only brought Vision back to life, but has built an anomaly called the Hex around the town of Westview, New Jersey, and turned it into the most unusual kind of prison, the prison of an ever-changing television sitcom. And multiple eras of television sitcoms. The first, starting with the Dick Van Dyke era, going all the way to the Modern Family era. And along the way, she tries to process her grief. We get a very unexpected recasting that ultimately led to the biggest kind of middle finger fake out, but a very funny one, since the fake Mandarin in Iron Man 3, of course, we know that the real Mandarin will arrive in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, but for now we had Ben Kingsley, so, Trevor Slattery, so, now I'm an Octa, but yeah, and it's Evan Peters, who is Peter Maximoff Quicksilver in the X-Men films, so, which, and was excellent, and is excellent here as well, as Pietro or Ralph Boner. That in and of itself is also a sitcom reference, if you remember Boner, Mike Seaver's friend from Growing Pains. Yeah. So, he also kind of first came on around the Growing Pains-ish episode. I love this series. I'm going to go right off the bat from beginning to end. I wasn't disappointed by the ending. I thought it worked. I did. Of course, I watched all the post-credit scenes. I'm a Marvel junkie. And what I loved about it is it really isolated. We get hints of the Wanda character and the Vision character, but the thing is, when you watch the Marvel movies, as much as you love them, they're such ensemble pieces that, as terrific of actors as Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany are, and they are phenomenal. Phenomenal, even in those brief parts, they're just kind of off to the side more. They kind of are, part of a group effort. Having them be the focus, especially Wanda in her mental state, really helped this show. It kind of did, for the superhero genre, sort of what The Haunting duology did for supernatural horror and gothic romance, which is take the ideas of grief and mental illness and pain and turn it into how do you, using a genre piece to kind of deal with how one heals from trauma. And that's really what this show's about, and similar to this shows, it's beautifully done. This might be one of the best things that the MCU has ever done. Honestly, I'm not saying that hyperbolically. I can acknowledge that not everything is gold. I've seen everything, but not everything is gold. And humans, everyone. Am I right? Another thing, too, is that I just, as someone who, so funny story, the first crush I ever had on a girl, a famous person, was Elizabeth Montgomery when I was a kid. And if you don't know who Elizabeth Montgomery is, she played the role of Samantha Stevens, the titular witch on Bewitched, the one Nicole Kidman played in the movie, or played the actress playing her. The movie's underrated. Anyway, so I love old sitcoms. I'm one of the few people in my generation who has sort of a knowledge of them, considering I kind of grew up on the Nick at Night lineup, TV Land. I grew up in a house where most of what my mom had on that she was watching and that I watched with her that wasn't my own programming was like the MeTV network, the old sitcom networks here in St. Louis. So I love sitcoms. And so all these different eras, all the little in-jokes, some sly in-jokes in regards to certain people Elizabeth Olsen is related to, a particular set of twins who were like the biggest thing in the world when I was growing up. And so when she was growing up, we're in kind of the same age range. Very funny. I like the idea that of Vision as the bumbling, dorky husband in the early episodes, and then I also just loved its surrealist elements, its kind of darker, almost horror elements. Little things like the actress who played Kitty Foreman on that 70s show as one of the prisoners of Westview is very good, and she's great as always. Deborah Jo Rupp, who said that she did it because her nephew was a big Marvel fan, and I guess you want to do it to get cool points from him. Well, I think your nephew would think you're the coolest lady ever already if you watch that 70s show, but that's just me. But that was cool. Little details like the fact that his, again, fake Quicksilver's name is Ralph Boner, and Agatha Harkness, aka Agnes, in her neighbor mode mentions, oh, my good-for-nothing husband Ralph. They'll say Ralph, you should tell him to just commit more, and he'll run away as fast as he can, like those kind of jokes. It's like, well, if you're dumping stuff off at the dump, can you take my good-for-nothing husband Ralph with you? Those kind of nosy neighbor sitcom jokes. Also, that reveal was great, and I saw it coming, but it was still great, because I never read enough of the comics to know who Agatha Harkness is. Now, it's sort of a reversal. It's weird, because the show is kind of true to Agatha Harkness in the comics, and it's also not. And what I mean by that is, though she's not a heroic character, she's not necessarily a villain in the comics. She's more of a mentor to Wanda Maximoff, and she kind of serves that purpose here, but she's evil. Also, Agatha all along, I know I'm not the first one to say it and will be the last, but by God, what a bop. That just made me smile from ear to ear. I told someone very close to me after I saw that episode, I'm like, that tickled a part of my nostalgia that I didn't know existed anymore. The imagery of it, the way they was the way everything was done. Oh, and then when she said, like many people, it's like everyone wanted John Wick to head to Westview the second she said, I killed Sparky too. Like, you might as well just... That was the final straw. It's also nice some of the people who show up. It was nice seeing Randall Park, the great, hilarious Randall Park as Jimmy Woo again, who is always a delight. I feel like I'm in the minority. A lot of people don't like her character. I like the Darcy Lewis character, and I love Kat Dennings. I think Kat Dennings is great. If you haven't seen it, she's on a really underrated show on Hulu that Margot Robbie worked on. Behind the scenes, she had a guest appearance. Dollface. If you haven't seen Dollface, that show is really great. It's like Man Seeking Woman if it was from the female perspective. It's a great sitcom on Hulu. It's great. And Two Broke Girls I like more than other people. Like I said, I like sitcoms. So having her essentially be the audience surrogate here and kind of be like she's watching the show. Also, just anyone who's been on my Letterboxd knows that I love Too Many Cooks. I think that's like one of the most brilliant 15 minutes of TV that's ever been made. I think that's just like a brilliant... That was playing in my head the entire time, especially during the opening credits in this thing, especially like in the Growing Pains episode with the false end credits, which was chilling, where he's, you can't control me. He goes, oh, really, can't I? Do. And then he goes, he has a family, Wanda. Like, that was creepy, and they glitch out. Like, that was creepy. Where she tries to stop the show to keep from having an important conversation and to address what she did. I also love the addition of Billy and Tommy, and I especially like that, though I didn't recognize the one kid, they're both good young actors. The other kid, for a second I was kind of looking at him like, where have I seen that kid before? It was Luke, a baby, little boy Luke Crane from The Haunting of Hill House. I'm like, oh my god, it's because he didn't have the glasses on. And I was like, oh my god, it's you. He was also Nick Cage's son from The Color Out of Space. I was like, oh my god, it's that kid. So that was dope. It was dope seeing him again, and one of my favorite episodes was the Halloween one, and I think that was a lot of people's favorite. I love the costumes that like looked more like the comics, especially like I think Ralph the Movie Maker mentioned the little felt infinity gem on the Vision Halloween costume. That I also just because I used to spend a lot of my afternoons as a kid at my grandmother's house, and so they used to have afternoon cartoons, I know, on regular TV back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and it would be like, okay. So they got me a little pang of nostalgia when they did the opening of that, and most of the show, because what it would do is they'd have like something like Transformers, Pokemon, and then at like 4 o'clock, the transition into the regular syndication was an hour of Malcolm in the Middle. So I would watch Malcolm in the Middle, and I loved that show. I thought it was funny. I liked how the angles were just right, the way it was shot, how everything was very weird and wide-angly and goofy, and they have the goofy uncle, and the kids are breaking the fourth wall. Like, all that stuff was great. The Modern Family thing. There's so much to talk about, and I do wish I could have done more, but there's not more to say. The ending killed me. And like everyone else, I think that is beautiful. That's something like this. I like that grief is becoming a focus of things in a way that in really good quality, stuff. Like, Nomadland, the Haunting movie, shows again in this. I just like that that's being really addressed, and the mental scars that can come from loss are really, and they're doing it in a frank way that is real within a very unreal scenario. I dig that. Where Vision says, what is grief if not love persevering? I love that line. I think that's a beautiful line. Really moving. When she said I was holding out for a long time when they showed the dismembered thing, which by the way, Colonel D-Bag, whatever his name was, someone said it's like the dude from Drop Dead Diva. Yeah, that's right. That's what I've seen before. That guy. Screw him. I hated his character. I'm so glad that he got back. I also need to point out, and I feel like Tiana Paris as Monica Rambeau. We need to see more of her. I loved Monica Rambeau. I loved that character. I thought she was. It's hard to come into this universe as a new actor and be that well formed and developed a character, but by God, she killed it. And they're clearly sitting with Captain Marvel too. I love Captain Marvel. Come at me, haters. I'm looking forward to that. It looks like it's a little bit also like Secret Invasion. I'm digging it. The stuff with like the Darkhold, like little Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. tie-in, great. Elizabeth Olsen, everyone in the show was great. Catherine Hahn, special shout out to her, who has always been funny, where there'd be like bad moms, stepbrothers, whatever, but she's really good here playing kind of against type. She was on Miss Fletcher. If you haven't seen Miss Fletcher, that's a really good show. She's really good in this. Elizabeth Olsen is great. She's basically playing the superhero Martha Marcy May Marilyn in this, kind of, which is strange. But yeah, WandaVision. See, the songs are in my head. But everyone's great. What was I going to mention? There's something really important I was going to mention. The commercials were brilliant. They didn't really go anywhere, which is kind of disappointing. That was maybe one thing, is that they didn't really... I got what they were doing. Like, there was a rumor at one point that the actor and actress who are in all the commercials are the Maximoff parents. I'm like, that's not a bad idea. Not really. It didn't come anywhere. Evan Peters is great, of course. Snooper Golden Snoop. I loved all the tie-ins. I loved... I didn't realize this until someone brought it to my attention, but I guess the aerospace engineer that she's friends with, Monica, is supposed to be Reed Richards. Dope. Can't wait. So I don't know what else to say, you guys. I lost my other thought. I'll get back to it later if I think of it. WandaVision gets 5 out of 5 stars. This is one of the very best MCU things. I think it's beautiful. The I Can't Feel You. That's what it was that broke me. I love it. I'll be back very soon, you guys. I'm planning on maybe watching 76 Days this week. I'm definitely going to watch the South Park special, review it. That'll be next time. And until next time, Grant the movie and TV guy. I see it all, and I'm happy to share it with you. And don't let witches take care of your dogs. And I love you all, appreciate you all, be kind to each other. Take care. Thank you all.